Sitting here, looking out at the camp. I can hear voices out there in the periphery. But it's been extremely windy most of today. Right now it seems to have slowed down quite a bit. So I've pretty much been inside most of the afternoon, or most of the morning. Not being very social. The girls just left, probably to go get more art supplies. I don't know. We're only going to be together for a couple more days, and then we all go our separate ways. I got to get back up north. Not looking forward to that trip. Thinking I'm going to go at least up to Craigie Wash, up there at Lake Havasu. And they have a Walmart up there. And before I head back into California, make sure that I have every bit of gas on board that I can, because it's in the 260, 270 range here. It's been cheaper, but once you get into California, I gotta add probably $1 to that, so. And work my way back home. Home. Anyway, I was asked the other day how I got the van. And I went, well, I just got it. I never really, I said, it just happened. Well, there's a story, she said. I went, oh, okay. This was way back in, I don't know. I'm really bad with numbers, 98, 97, 99, someplace in there. And I was getting a new exhaust system installed in my pickup. I've always been a Ford guy. And always had Ford pickups since, I think it was 76 or 77, someplace in there where I bought my first Ford pickup, and I had it up until my second ex-wife. And so I was getting a new exhaust system put under it, and while I'm waiting, I'm wandering around. The guy had a small storage yard out back, maybe an acre, someplace in there, half acre. And he had a couple of buses, especially a nice old one. I mean, well, nice is a relative term. It had a lot of windows. It was like a window van like the Volkswagen buses with the windows on top. This old thing had them on top, and I wanted that bus, but as I'm walking around, I noticed out back this van and another one just like it sitting out there, so I ended up talking to him about it. And come to find out that he'd had it in storage for well over 15 years. And he said, yeah, I've never heard back from the owner. I said, would you be willing to sell him? He said, sure. I said, well, what kind of price do you think? $500 for the two of them. I said, cool, I'll do it. And I did it. And a couple of the things that, sold me on the deal was when I was walking around, I looked in here and it was just an empty shell, but I climb in, things look relatively decent, and I put the doghouse up and look at the oil. Oil's perfect. Open the radiator, and it's got green fluid in it. It's fine. It didn't have a battery, it didn't have a key. So I thought, just those two standpoints right there, when the guy parked it, maybe it was in outrageously okay shape. So I paid somebody, I don't remember what it was, a chunk of change with a towing company, and they put this one, they put it up on the flatbed, and then they towed the other one on a dolly. And I took it over to my mother and father-in-law's, and I had already known from tapping on the fuel tank that it was empty because it sounded hollow. So I took a 5-gallon can of gas home with me, made sure I had it, and poured the gas in, kept a little bit out so I could pour it in the carburetor. Took the battery out of my pickup and put it in this thing. And I stopped at Napa and I bought a brand new key lock so I could just replace it, just plug in, and I had new keys. And it fired right up. I'm going, holy. So it turns out, after driving it around a bit and checking it out, that I could literally have just put gas in it and put a new lock on it and a battery in it and drove it home. Probably would have saved myself $100. So, technically speaking, and I've been driving it now since around 2000, someplace in there. I paid $250 for it. I think I got my money's worth out of it. It's one of them things where you just look at something and go, yeah, that might work. It's one of the few things, other than my kids, that have been. And now it's really hard for me. People ask, why don't I sell it and get something else? It's been in the family pretty much as long as my boys have been in the family. And my daughter isn't too much older than this van. She was raised in it. All three of my kids were raised in it. So for me, it's part of the family. And I just want to do a little bit more work to it and enjoy it, not fight it. And I'm really close. I really am. I need to rebuild the steering box, and eventually I want to put disc brakes on the front end. But it's not easy. This thing is over 50 years old now. But hopefully it won't be too much longer and I'll have it. So that's the story of how I got my van. I'm sure I forgot a bunch of stuff and I simplified a bunch more. But God, look at that. I gotta stop wearing sunglasses outside. I look like a raccoon.